Greetings, welcome to Little Discovery Corner. I think I will start with my singles and relationship what's blocking you oracle deck and see what may be on your mind, in your heart, that is blocking you from moving forward in life, making changes. I'm seeing a mirror face. It's like a feminine face, like a female's face, but it's like it's dim, it's greenish. It's like, yeah, it's like you're seeing yourself in the mirror. If you're masculine, maybe you're feeling emasculated. Maybe you're feeling ashamed of your feminine side. You're ashamed to let it come forth and balance out. Maybe you're afraid to balance your masculine side with your feminine side, which is not healthy to let your one side remain dominant, right? And balancing out your feminine side includes like getting grounded. Okay, you might be feeling a bit alone and vulnerable. Being open and honest with your vulnerability is a part of balancing out. But, okay, you don't need to play games to keep the right one interested in you. Oh, fear of loss. Expectations. So maybe you were used to playing games, mind games with, say, romantic connections or even friend connections, and perhaps you usually expect them to play along. That's just how it goes. That's how the cycle works, right? And then because you don't, and when you do that, it comes from a place of feeling unworthy in your sense of self, your sense of pride and self-worth, and not feeling lovable, like feeling like you don't deserve an honest, open connection, and you're not allowed to be vulnerable because that makes you afraid to lose. And this is all ego, right? This is all your ego keeping you trapped in cycles of playing games, having expectations of people, and feeling unworthy of healthy connections, like unworthy of real unconditional love. But what you have to, part of balancing out and coming into a better sense of self and self-worth is acknowledging that you can give yourself that love. That's where it starts. It's starting with yourself. You tell others too much about yourself. Sit back and listen more, okay? Maybe this is about listening. Too much work. All right, maybe you're like getting out of playing games, lowering expectations of what you expect the other side to do for you, and pouring into your own self-worth, practicing self-care to build a solid foundation of self-worth within yourself first, so that you can better give to others and build healthy connections. You might be feeling like that's too much work, and you're afraid of getting close because you're afraid to be open and vulnerable. Yes, this roots from past trauma, and that's something you need to sit with and recognize. Like, what triggers you? Are you triggered because someone is not playing along with the games you were trying to play? Are they not reacting the way you wanted to react? And why do you need them to react a certain way? Why do you feel like playing games is standard for you? Why do you feel like it's normalized for you? Why are you used to that? Why is that your comfort zone? Could be because past trauma, and trauma can be anything. Look up Gabor Mate, Gabor Mate. He is one of the best speakers I've ever heard on trauma, because it's not just like acute, like dramatic events that cause trauma. It's also like he says, anytime your emotional needs are not being met, including by yourself, and you could have been conditioned to reject your own emotional needs, which kind of causes you to be in this kind of ego-driven, lonely cycle that never ends, which would cause you might be fear that you're fated to be alone and you're unworthy to be otherwise, and that is rooted in trauma. So when you like clear your mind of the clutter and focus on what's driving, what may have, like, whether it was like a dramatic breakup from your first love, or you were hurt badly, or going back to childhood with the expectations that were set on you, anything that made you feel unworthy and afraid of losing control, for example. You might want to just sit there and be with that discomfort, the discomfort of thinking about that and examining it and feeling how those trigger events make you feel, and kind of like let it surface so you can like pinpoint. I, for example, realized it took me certain trigger events in like recent history for me to like focus on and kind of dwell on and make space for, and realize that it was like reminding of my relationship with my parents, certain dynamics that I was still kind of hung up on, baggage I was carrying, resentment I was carrying. And I had to acknowledge that, see it, acknowledge it, let myself feel whatever the resentment, the pain, the hurt, so I could get it all out and release it and practice forgiveness and unconditional love for others and myself. And forgiveness and unconditional love does not necessarily mean trust and respect. It just means letting go of that baggage and taking that big bag of bricks off your shoulders, emotionally speaking, metaphorically. So past trauma could be keeping you guarded. You are lonely because you're so aloof. Trust others. Could be keeping you feeling unworthy, fear of being vulnerable, keeping walls up, all these fears coming up, and afraid to do the work. Yeah, feeling unloved. Past trauma could be keeping your walls up and keeping you feel unloved, unworthy. Okay, it's heavy reading today. Next, I think I'll go with myself out in a little bit. Any advice to add to address this? Anger. There could be old anger that you need to process, or even recent anger you need to release in order to free your spirit. Let that baggage go. It's like kind of emotional clutter clearing. You have to acknowledge that you're angry about something, or bitter about something, resentful about something. Let yourself feel it. I mean, in a healthy way. You might have to be alone, or go to the batting cage or something like that, or one of those things you pay for, those rooms where you can smash things. Or just, go to the woods, pick up a stick and break it, or break other sticks. Pray. And I think this is about, even if you don't have like a religious practice or a spiritual practice, it's just like sitting quietly, clearing your head, and trying to get in touch with your higher self, and get in touch with your heart, your inner heart, and what would your heart really want for yourself? What are the healthiest choices? Where would your heart lead to? Your heart of hearts, to be in a healthy, happy place in life. I got the Philosopher's deck out, sitting And I saw this right away. Mistakes are proof that you're trying. Ernest Hemingway. Has shaming myself for mistakes ever been an effective strategy? So if you have made mistakes with, say, playing games, mind games with dating, and it caused, you know, something, a connection you wanted to keep to fall apart, don't beat yourself up forever. Do the work about why you made those choices so you can let go of whatever emotional baggage might be steering your ego in certain directions into keeping certain cycles round and round and round, so you can find freedom and getting in touch with your inner self, higher self, conscience, your heart. Listening to your heart is all about learning from your mistakes. What else? Oh, a feeling of aversion or attachment to something, either aversion or attachment to something, is your clue that there's work to be done. And that ties in with the cards that came up on doing the work or avoiding doing the work. Now, you may have been avoiding. That's like being guarded, or attaching to a certain cycle, like a certain way of playing games and dating, because that's what you're used to. That's your comfort zone. Why is that your comfort zone? That's the work you need to do. Analogy. This one fell right out the deck. Be bold and make the first move. And that could just be figuring out what steps you need to take to address past traumas, avoiding doing the work, staying stuck in mind games, cycles. And that could be, say, taking the first step of contacting a mental health professional to help you walk through it and sort through your past traumas. And there are many more. Oh yeah, you could go through a traditional clinic. There's places, resources online. There's like life coaches and relationship coaches too, that you can find online. So they're not all super expensive. You don't necessarily have to go through a super expensive psychiatrist, but there's lots of places lots of resources you can find. Confidence, and that will help you build your confidence in building that new sense of self. Step out of your comfort zone. What have I just been saying? Okay. I hope that has helped someone out there today, and I will see you next time.